So now we're going to make a ginger rum pork with a rum pineapple salsa that is going to incorporate the Folly Cove rum. First, we're going to make the marinade. Pretty simple, pretty basic. I have an orange, and the good thing about oranges is even though they're kind of not fresh like this one, it's fine because it zests just fine. What I need to do is take all the zest off the outside. I'm not actually going to be eating this, so you could do it with this kind of zester or one of the bigger ones, or if you even had to like peel it a little bit, you could, but then you couldn't juice it after that. So at the end of the day here, this is going to get me about a tablespoon of zest. Okay, now I'm just going to cut this. See, perfectly lovely inside. I'm going to juice it. And I need like 3/4 of a cup to a cup-ish of liquid, of juice. So I really want to give this a good squeeze. And that's going to come out to about 1/2 cup. So there we go. There's measurement for the future. 1 large navel orange yields about 1/2 cup of juice. So I'm going to put that in with the zest. Put that aside. And I also now, for my salt component, I have some soy sauce. This is the reduced sodium soy sauce. So you get the salt component, but then you also get the flavor of the soy sauce. And then I have 2 tablespoons of just cumin. And I have 2 teaspoons, no, I'm sorry, that was 2 teaspoons of cumin. And I have here 2 tablespoons of freshly chopped garlic. I have this much ground pepper, which is going to be, when we're all said and done, 1/2 teaspoon. I've got my agave syrup here. It's called agave nectar. You can use this, you can use honey, you could use brown sugar, you could probably use even granulated sugar if you had to. I just like this because it's a little different. It's very sweet. So I'm going to grab myself 2 tablespoons of this. 1. You can get this pretty much in any store now. It's very sweet and very sticky, but it works well as a nice sweetening component in a marinade, also in a salad dressing. And then finally, we want to have 1/2 cup of Folly Cove rum. Actually, sorry, it's 1/3 of a cup. It's getting a little carried away there. So all I'm going to do is pour this in, take my whisk, give it a little whisk up. Nothing too complicated here. Then, I find the easiest way to marinate anything is in a plastic bag. So I've got my pork tenderloin. I cleaned all the visible fat off the outside. I'm just going to open my Ziploc, my zip bag, fold it down so it stands on its own so you're not tipping stuff everywhere. Put in my pork tenderloin. I'm not going to touch it so that I don't contaminate my hands and, you know, all that other stuff. Get rid of that. Pour this in to cover. Zip up my bag. Get the air out. There we go. Zip up my bag. Give it a little toss, a little squish. Everything's in there. 3 hours, 6 hours, overnight if you have to. It might become, it's going to become a little brown from the different acids and the alcohol in here, but it's going to be just fine. So now I'm going to make a pineapple rum salsa to go with our rum marinated pork. Cut off the top. Cut off the bottom. And I do that for 2 reasons. One reason is because you can't eat this. And the other reason is when you're cutting something, it's best to have a flat surface. Like when you're cutting an onion, you lay it down on the flat surface instead of trying to cut it on the wiggly, on the, you know, the half crescent part there. So you start with your knife by cutting around. And I'm cutting the outside skin off. And then you say, well, Laurie, there's like a core on the inside. Now, there's two schools of thought on the pineapple core. There is eat it, don't eat it. There's actually three schools of thought. My school of thought is cut it up, and if you have a baby and he or she is right next to you in the high chair so you can supervise, give him or her the core to chew with their little gums before they have teeth. So you cut it into quarters, then you cut straight down, and you cut out the core. It's going to be served over pork, so you don't want big hunks. You want to be able to have a bite of the salsa and a bite of the pork too. So probably, you know, like this. What is that, 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch? And I want, give or take, 2 cups. And I'm going to juice my lime. Remember how I told you before with the orange that you can push it down hard on the cutting board or microwave it for 10 seconds to get extra juice out. I want about a tablespoon and a half. So I have this nifty juicer for the smaller of the fruits. And I'm thinking by the time I squeeze this all out, that's probably a tablespoon and a half. I've got a little bit of onion. You could use shallots if you wanted to. It's about 2 tablespoons of onion, because the last thing you want is a giant overpowering onion taste to take over everything. I don't like that. Then I have 1/4 cup of half a cup of red bell pepper. You can put green in if that's what you have in the house. I'm bringing back the agave nectar again. You can use honey. It's just for a little additional sweetness component. But I'm just putting a little because pineapple's pretty darn sweet. Then I'm going to put in some fresh cilantro, a couple of tablespoons. I like cilantro, so I'll probably put in a little more. Just twist it off. And cilantro is one of those herbs that you don't really mind eating a little bit of the stem. It's fine. It's soft. I've washed this and rinsed this and dried this and all that because cilantro is one of those herbs that is grown in a sandy soil, and you can get a lot of sand up in the leaves. Now, how much heat you like is up to you. I like a little heat in my salsa, not too much, and the heat balances with the sweet, so it's good. I'm going to go like that. It might be a 1/2 teaspoon altogether, but remember, you can always add more. You can't take it away. I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of the rum, the Folly Cove rum from Gloucester. That is just a lovely salsa and would be just delightful with chips, you know, just as is with chips. So I'm going to let this sit together. I'm going to get the pork out of the marinade, get out my burner, and show you how to grill the pork. You can either do it on the grill pan or outside on the grill. Finish it in the oven and put the entire meal together. I took my pork out of the marinade, patted it dry, and discarded the marinade. All I'm going to do is put my pork on the grill pan to sear. We're going to sear it on all 4 sides, or probably 3 sides by the time it's done. It's kind of a triangular thing if you look at it. Then we're going to pop it in the oven for about 10 minutes at 350. It doesn't take long because, especially again in the cast iron, it holds so much heat. So this is it. I cooked my pork in the oven for about 15 minutes. It was closer to 15 than it was 10. I just left it alone, popped it in, left it alone. So I'm going to slice it. I already sliced a piece off. A couple slices for me. As you can see, this is more to medium. But as it gets to the thicker end, it's going to be a little more to the medium rare. So I'll probably eat the thicker end. We've got our pineapple rum salsa. Put that right over the top. And I just steamed up some green beans. And there you go. Folly Cove marinated pork tenderloin with pineapple rum salsa.